An English chapter from Class 10 NCRT, Two Stories About Flying. This chapter has two parts. The first is His First Flight, written by Liam O'Flaherty, and the second is Black Aeroplane. So, in this video, I'll be completing the first part of the chapter. So, let's begin. His first flight. The young seagull was alone on his ledge. His two brothers and his sister had already flown away by day before. He had been afraid to fly with them. Somehow, when he had taken a little run forward to the brink of the ledge and attempted to flap his wings, he became afraid. See, here this chapter is about a young seagull. What is seagull? Seagull is a bird that lives near the sea. It has short wings and long beak. Okay, so a young seagull who hasn't yet taken his first flight since birth is scared to fly. Now it was the time for Seagull to fly and see the world. But every time he wished to fly, he took a step back. Why? Because he lacked courage and confidence. Okay, and what is the meaning of ledge? Ledge means the surface. Actually, it is the surface where birds sit and then they fly. Okay, so there was a young seagull who was alone sitting on the horizontal surface. His two brothers and his sister had already flown away the day before. Uh, this says that this seagull had brothers and sisters, and they were younger than him, but then too they learned to fly because they had the courage to fly. But this seagull, uh, it was older seagull, but then too he did not had the courage to fly, so he was sitting on the ledge. He had been afraid to fly with them. Somehow, when he had taken a little run forward to the brink of the ledge and attempted to flap his wings, he became afraid. So whenever he tried to fly, whenever he thought to fly, and he came at the edge of the surface, brink means at the edge point, okay, at the edge point from where the birds fly. So whenever he tried to come to the edge point and fly, he took a step back because of fear. The great expanse of sea stretched down beneath, and it was such a long way down, miles down. He was afraid to see the large sea, the big sea, and he thought that my wings would not support me to fly. He felt certain that his wings would never support him, so he bent his head and ran away back to the little hole under the ledge where he slept at night. So, what he did, whenever he tried to come forward and fly, he was afraid, he was scared, and again he went back to his home, means ledge where he slept at night. So this is a place, a flat surface, and under this surface there are holes where birds usually take rest. So he used to go and sleep there, he used to go and take rest because he was unable to fly. Even when each of his brothers and little sister, whose wings were far shorter than his own, ran to the brink, flapped their wings, and flew away, he failed to muster up courage to take that plunge which appeared to him so desperate. Okay, I told you that he had brothers and sisters. So even though his sister was younger than him, she had courage to fly. So all his brothers and sisters, they used to fly, even though they were having shorter wings than this seagull. They they flew. They ran to the brink. Brink means the edge from where they fly. So they ran and they flapped their wings and they flew away. But this seagull, he used to watch his brothers and sisters flying, but he could not gather his courage. Okay, he could not gather the courage to fly like those birds. Plunge means to dip in water. So he felt very a big task. It was a big task for him, that how will I fly? I can't fly throughout my life. He used to think like that. His father and mother had come around, calling to him shrilly, upbraiding him, threatening to let him starve on his ledge unless he flew away. But for the life of him, he could not move. So, what his parents used to do, his parents used to threaten him constantly by saying, "You will die out of hunger if you don't fly. Nobody is going to feed you. You have to help yourself." Okay, so his parents used to shout at him. Shrilly means to shout loudly. Okay, to shout loudly. Upbraiding means to scold. Okay, so his parents used to loudly say to him to shout at him. Okay, they used to shout at him, and also they used to threaten him that if you don't fly, you will not get food. Nobody is coming and giving you food, so you will die out of hunger. His parents used to scold him. Why? Because they were trying to convince the seagull to fly, but everything was in vain. He was not having confidence to fly. That was 24 hours ago. Since then, nobody had come near him. The day before, all day long, he had watched his parents flying about with his brothers and sisters, perfecting them in the art of flight, teaching them how to skim the waves and how to dive for fish. So now it was 24 hours. Okay, a whole day had passed and nobody came to him. His parents came and shouted at him. Then, after shouting, they all went from him. Then, after 24 hours, nobody came to him. Okay, in those 24 hours, nobody came to him. Nobody gave him food to eat. He was starving out of hunger. He wanted food to eat, but nobody came near to him. And what his parents were doing, they were perfecting the other child to fly. They were giving training to his brothers and sisters to fly, how to fly and how to see the waves in the sea and how to catch fish. All those things they were teaching their other children, but not to this seagull. He had in fact seen his older brother catch his first herring and devour it. Now what he was seeing his older brother, he catched a fish. Herring is a kind of fish. Okay, herring is a kind of fish. So his older brother, he catched a fish and he ate it. Devour means to eat it. He ate it standing on a rock while his parents circled around, raising a proud cackle. Now, when this older seagull he catched a fish and ate it, his parents were happy. So they were proud of the older seagull. And all the morning, the whole family had walked about on a big plateau midway down the opposite cliff, taunting him with his cowardice. Okay, so they were feeling proud for the older seagull. Then what they did, or then his parents and all the brothers and sisters, they all fly to the opposite surface. There was a horizontal surface opposite to their house. So they all flew there, and they left this weak seagull here only by saying that you are cowardice, you are weak, you can't fly, you be here only, and we all are going to that part of the place. You can see here the weak seagull. He is trying to fly, but he's lacking confidence, and all others like his parents and brother, sister, they all are flying to the opposite direction. The sun was now ascending in the sky, blazing on his ledge that faced the south. He felt the heat because he had not eaten since the previous nightfall. Now the sun was rising in the sky and there was heat everywhere. Now this seagull, he felt very hungry and thirsty because he did not eat food for 24 hours. So now he was weak. Okay, he stepped slowly out to the brink of the ledge and standing on one leg with other leg hidden under his wing, he closed one eye, then the other, and pretended to be falling asleep. Now, what this seagull did, when he saw everyone flew to the other part of the surface, now he is trying to come forward. He came to the edge of the surface to fly, but he was not having courage to fly. So what he did, he was pretending that he lifted one of his leg, he folded it and he closed his one eye and he tried to sleep. Actually, he was showing others that I'm sleeping, I can't do this, come and give me some food, I'm very hungry. Still, they took no notice of him, but nobody noticed him. He saw his two brothers and sister lying on the plateau, dozing with their heads sunk into their necks. His father was preening the feathers on his white back. Only his mother was looking at him. So even though he was pretending that he is sleeping, nobody saw him. What his brother and sisters were doing, they were sleeping on the other plateau, and his father, he was cleaning his feather. Preening means cleaning. He was cleaning his feather. Only his mother noticed him. She was standing on a little high hump on the plateau. Where she was standing, his mother was standing on a raised mountain or raised surface. Her white breast thrust forward. Now and again she tore at a piece of fish that lay at her feet, and then scraped each side of her beak on the rock. What she was doing on the top of the surface, she was standing stiff, and she had a fish at her feet. She was taking bite from it. Okay, each bite she was taking, and she was rubbing her beak on the rock why she was rubbing her beak? She was rubbing her beak to make it sharp so that she can eat easily. The sight of the food maddened him. Now, while she was doing this activity, she went on top, she catched a fish, and she was nicely tearing and eating the fish to show the seagull, see, I'm I'm having this fish. If you want, you also fly and come to me. She was showing to the weak seagull. How he loved to tear food that way, scraping his beak now and again to wet it. Now he also copied his mother, how she was rubbing her beak on the rock. He also started to rub his beak on the rock, on the other side of the surface. Ga ga ga, he cried, begging her to bring him some food. Go ko ho, she screamed back derisively, means stupidly. Now this seagull from the opposite surface, he was asking for food, okay, to his mother, but the mother, she also gave response that I'm not going to give you, you have to fly and come to take the piece of fish. But he kept calling plaintively. He was upset and he was begging for food to his mother, and after a minute or so he uttered a joyful scream. Then after some time of cry, what he did, he started to feel happy. Why he felt happy? Because his mother had picked up a piece of fish and was flying across to him with it. Now his mother, she was bringing the piece of fish towards this seagull. So he became happy. He leaned out eagerly, tapping the rock with his feet, trying to get nearer to her as she flew across. Now the seagull, he was hungry. He did not eat anything from past 24 hours, so he was starving. When he saw his mother is flying and coming towards him, he became very happy. He started to tap his feet, and he was waiting for his mother to come and give some food. But when she was just opposite to him, she halted, her wings motionless, the piece of fish in her beak almost within reach of his beak. He waited a moment in surprise, wondering why she did not come nearer, and then, maddened by hunger, he dived at the fish. Now, when his mother was coming towards him, he what the mother did, she came very near to the seagull, but she did not came too close to him. There was a distance between the seagull and his mother. She stopped over there. Okay, she stopped over there, and what she wanted, actually, she wanted the seagull to dive and take the fish by himself. So she became stagnant at a distance. Now this seagull, he was mad, he was starving, so he dived at the fish. He jumped to catch that piece of fish from his mother's mouth. With a loud scream, he fell outwards and downwards into the space. Now he fell from the surface. Then a monstrous terror seized him and his heart stood still. Actually, he was mad out of hunger, so he jumped into the sea. Okay, so he jumped into the sea. He did not realize that he will fall or he is having fear. He forgot everything because he was mad for food. So when he jumped, then he realized that now where I am. So his heart, it stopped beating for a while, and there was a loud scream coming from his mouth because out of fear. Then after some time, what happened, that fear went off. First, he was afraid. He was scared that he is falling from up. He could hear nothing. His heart had stopped beating, but it only lasted a minute. That panic, that fear, that was just for a minute. The next moment, he felt his wings spread outwards. Now, what he felt that his wings are coming out. The wind rushed against his breast feathers, then under his stomach and against his wings. Now here he is experiencing his first flight. Okay, because it was his first fly. Now he is experiencing that air is touching his wings. His wings is coming out of his breast and all, so he could feel that the tips of his wings cutting through the air, means the wings are touching the air. He's feeling everything now. He was not falling headlong now. Till now, whenever he jumped, his head used to come downwards, but now his head is not falling downwards. Now his wings has come out and he's flapping and flying. He was soaring gradually downwards and outwards. Okay, soaring means moving. Now he is moving upwards and downwards because it is his first fly, so there is no proper balance. He don't know how to fly properly, so sometimes he is going down, sometimes he is going up, but he's learning by himself. He was no longer afraid now. He just felt a bit dizzy. Dizzy means tired because he did not eat for 24 hours, so he was feeling little bit tired. Then he flapped his wings once and he soared upward. Ga ga ga. His mother swooped past him, her wings making a loud noise. He answered her with another scream. So now there was conversation between both of them. Okay, the seagull, it was making some noise and talking to his mother, and the mother was also giving reply. She was also flying along with the seagull. Then his father flew over him screaming. He saw his two brothers and sister flying around him, curveting and banking and soaring and diving. Now what he saw, that everybody came near him. His mother was with him, then his father came, then his brother and sister also came. So now there was a group in that place, and they all were flying. Then he completely forgot that he had not always been able to fly and commended himself to dive and soar and curve. Now he forgot that he was unable to fly, and now he is flying with all his courage and he is happy to fly, shrieking and shrilly. Now he is not crying, he is not shouting. Okay, he is busy flying. He was near the sea now, flying straight over it, facing straight out over the ocean. He saw a vast green sea beneath him with little ridges moving over it, and he turned his beak sideways and cawed amusedly. Now, when he was flying, he saw the beauty of nature. He saw the green sea. Um, okay, he saw the green sea beneath him, and plants and water, waves, everything he experienced it. Okay, and he was very happy, so uh, he was making noise out of happiness. His parents and his brothers and sister had landed on this green flooring ahead of him. They were beckoning to him. Beckoning means they were calling shrilly. He dropped his legs to stand on the green sea. His legs sank into it, He screamed with fright and attempted to rise again, flapping his wings, but he was tired and weak with hunger and he could not rise. Okay, so now his parents, his brother and sister, they all landed on the green sea, and they were waiting for this seagull to come and land on the sea. Okay, they were calling him to come and land in the water. So he also landed on the green sea. His leg sank into it, means his legs went into the water. He screamed. Why he screamed? Because the water was touching his feet, so he was a little bit scared, and he tried to fly again, but because he was weak he could not fly again. So he was he was putting his feet inside the water, but his body was floating on the water, like how birds float on water. The same way he was also floating. Because he was tired, he could not fly again by the strange exercise. He was exhausted by the strange exercise, means he flew to a long distance, so that was an exercise for him. His feet sank into the green sea and then his belly touched it, and he sank no farther. He was floating on it, and around him his family was screaming, praising him, and their beaks were offering him scraps of dogfish. Now he was in the water. Actually, his feet was inside the water, but he was floating on the water, on the surface of the water, and also his parents and other family members were floating on water, and his siblings were offering him scraps of dogfish. Means scraps means pieces, okay, pieces of food they were giving to the seagull. Before only he was hungry, he did not eat food for 24 hours, so they were providing him with pieces of dogfish so that he could eat it. And that was also a gift from their side, because that was his first flight, so all were happy for him, so they were providing food. Now he had made his first flight, so here he learned how to fly, so everyone were happy for him. So here the chapter ends. What we learned in this chapter about a seagull. The seagull was covered, he was weak, he lacked confidence, but later on it learned how to fly, how to soar in the sky. So, this is all about the chapter. It teaches us self confidence and courage. It also teaches about how to face one's fear bravely and boldly. The feeling of fear is more painful than fear. And we also come to know that fear is only in mind. If we have willingness to do, we can achieve anything and everything. So we must always have a positive mind and positive attitude in every circumstance. Okay, I hope you have understood this story. In the next video, I'll be bringing the second part of this chapter. Till then, read the chapter,